Hello, ladies and gentlemen, whoever and whatever. Welcome back to the Dragon Ball Z manga reflection. I know this isn't the usual scenery, but I don't really want to play Breakers right now, and I figured that a change in scenery would be beneficial anyway. Plus, Payday's fucking awesome, so anyone who has not played Payday, go fucking play it right now. It's on sale on a couple of different platforms due to end of year sales and shit. So go play it if you haven't yet, because it's fucking awesome. But if you remember last time in Dragon Ball Z, we left off with the Z fighters finding Frieza and being like, "Oh shit, he's killing all those people," and we pick up here in volume 6 with Frieza's men going to fight some of the Namekians that they claim are like, oh, they're super strong, so we can't, like, or they're the people that we're gonna get to fight to fight Frieza and shit. So pretty much these Namekians show up, and the Frieza Force members are like, oh, their power level is only 1,000. But then the Namekians, their power level increases a shitload, which reveals that Namekians can apparently suppress their ki, which I guess the Frieza Force didn't even know they could do. Which, Frieza's already got 3 Dragon Balls. You'd think they would have tried this by now, but... And it's at this point, sorta, that we get into my main problem about the Frieza saga and the Namek saga as a whole. I'm gonna be completely honest right now, and what I'm about to say is probably gonna piss some people off. I think the Frieza saga is mid as fuck. The Frieza saga is literally 90%. It's 10% cool shit, right? Like, the Frieza fight is cool, the Zarbon fight is cool, all of the lore shit is kind of cool. Finding out, like, where Piccolo came from is pretty cool. But it is 10% that and 90% Vegeta, Gohan, and fucking... what's his name? Vegeta running around with their thumbs up their asses, playing keep away with each other, with the Dragon Balls. It's just boring for a lot of the time, but we're not there yet. That won't happen for a decent amount of time, so we're good for now. Where the fuck is this guy? I can never remember. Anyway. So we get to that point, and the Namekians beat the members of the Frieza Force, and they're like, haha, Frieza, we killed your guys. But then Zarbon, I think it's Zarbon or Dodoria, who decide to intervene, and they're like, yeah, no, fuck you, and then they kill the Namekians. But after that, they get the Dragon Ball and everything, and at that point, Frieza, or, not Frieza, my bad, Gohan and Krillin decide that they need to intervene for some fucking reason. I guess because, you know, Frieza's about to kill a bunch of innocent people and shit. That's probably a decent, reason to intervene. Did I not take the key from him? No, I didn't. Shit. But it's at this point that Dodoria chases after them, because they take the Dragon Ball. And they kind of kick Dodoria's ass a little. They beat him up to a certain extent, but then Krillin is just like, fuck this, I'm not gonna risk fighting this guy. So he uses Solar Flare, and it completely blinds Dodoria, which Solar Flare up until this point has been like Tenshinhan's thing. Later on, it's established that pretty much anybody can do it, because it's really easy. Because fuck Tenshinhan, I guess. Toriyama seems to have such a vendetta against Tenshinhan, it's crazy. But they manage to get away. Dodoria loses them. But then, shortly after, Dodoria encounters Dodoria encounters Vegeta, because Vegeta's also looking for the Dragon Balls, and he's using ki tracking, because that's a thing he can do now. He's using his ability to sense ki, and he ends up stumbling upon Dodoria, and he's like, "Hi, Dodoria," and then Dodoria shit-talks him for a little bit. It's at this point that Vegeta explains what Zenkai is. It's never said by name, I don't think, but that's what the principal's called. I think it's explained in one of the Daizenshu magazines that came out about Dragon Ball that was supposed to show, like, power scaling figures, or power level figures, rather, back when Toriyama still cared about that, which, that was really funny. Where did his body go? Which, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Toriyama did away with power level figures, because I think it's fucking stupid. It's another one of my biggest fucking problems with this arc, is that it relies on power levels so much to an extent that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because, spoiler alert, this is the arc that we introduced Super Saiyan in. And some shit that Frieza says about his power level really draws into question what the multiplier for Super Saiyan is. Because it's fucking ridiculous. But Vegeta says, like, "Oh yeah, I almost fucking died on Earth, so I'm super strong now." And Dodoria doesn't believe him. So they fight. And then Vegeta kicks his fucking ass. And he's like got both of his arms barred behind him. And Dodoria, who is shown to be a fucking huge coward in this scene, he offers information about Planet Vegeta and the truth of its destruction. This is also when we learn that Planet Vegeta was destroyed, the Saiyan homeworld. I can't remember if someone says it up before this point. I don't think it's ever mentioned. But no, they do mention it. I think Raditz mentions that Planet Vegeta was destroyed. If I remember correctly. He says some shit like that. And so, because of this, fucking Vegeta's like, "Okay, tell me, and I might keep you alive." Or, no, he doesn't. He doesn't give a shit. He tells Zarbon, or he tells Dodoria, he's like, "I don't care what happened. I surpassed my father when I was, like, a child." Which will also further confuse things when timelines start to happen. But it's at this point that Dodoria tells him anyway. He tells him anyway. And he tells him that Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta, which is true. This is confirmed to be true. And then Vegeta is still like, "Okay, I don't give a shit," and then he kills him anyway. Of course, then that causes Vegeta to contemplate some shit that he didn't realize before. And he's like, "Oh wow, so Frieza's responsible for killing all the Saiyans and my dad." Because I think it's in the anime. In the anime, Frieza personally fights King Vegeta III, and he kicks his ass. Not shown as happening in the manga, but that aside, because that's contradicted information now because of the Broly film. If we are taking the Broly movie into canon, which I think most people do. But oh, we just gotta fucking wait now. But it's at this point that Vegeta flies off. He is like, "Alright, I don't know what the fuck to do now." And then nothing fucking happens for like years. It feels like years. It's not actually years, I should note that. They've only been on the planet for like 2 or 3 days at this point, I think they've said. But god, the Frieza saga is just so slow. And I think the next major thing that happens is that Zarbon finds Vegeta. Or no, I don't think he finds Vegeta yet. Hold on, you guys cover me. I gotta reflect for a moment. Oh, they killed that sniper. How convenient. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's not the next thing that happens. The next thing that happens is that Vegeta shows up to some random village, because of course he's also looking for the Dragon Balls, and he shows up, and he's just like, hey, you should give me your Dragon Ball, or I'm gonna fucking kill all of you. And then the elder that he finds is like, no, you're evil, I can tell. So Vegeta beats the shit out of him, and then Vegeta kills them all anyway after receiving the Dragon Ball. He just kills the shit out of everybody anyway. And then he goes and I think he hides it underwater at this point. This is the part where he starts hiding all of the Dragon Balls underwater so that people can't find them. Because, again, a lot of the events that take place during the Frieza saga are so similar that I can't remember what they are. And it's at this point that Frieza and Zarbon find out that Dodori is dead. So, because Dodori is dead, he sends Zarbon out to find Vegeta. Because they understand that Vegeta is the person who's picking them off. There's also some kind of interaction with the Z fighters that I can't remember. Something Vegeta, to my understanding, is how that goes down. Oh, fucking hell. Get the hell out of here. But yeah, it's just more vapid nonsense. It's at this point in the anime that, like, or no, I think it's when other characters show up. But at some point in the anime, Bulma goes underwater and starts fighting crabs or some shit. She, like, gets in a mech and fights a bunch of crabs. Not even similar to anything that happens in the manga. During the manga, Bulma is kind of kicked out of the story. They go back to her to, like, find the dragon, to grab the dragon radar and shit. But aside from that, like, she is just completely and absolutely booted out of the story. But fucking where? Oh, it's still being dropped, okay. But yeah, there's like some kind of bullshit with them going back to talk to Bulma. And they're like, oh, Vegeta's on the planet. Oh! How could I forget about the most important character during the entire Namek saga? Dende! They meet Dende. I think they've met Dende at this point. And Dende is like, I'll take you to the Great Elder. Or does that happen yet? Again, I can't fucking remember. Because everything happens so similarly and at such similar times. I'm fairly certain that it's at this point that Dende takes them to the Great Elder. And then the Great Elder's like, oh, I'll unlock your power or some fucking shit. And also Nail is there. Nail's not important yet, but he will be shortly. It's also at this point that it's established that all of the Namekians are Guru's kids. Guru is this, like, big fat Namekian. He's also old as shit. But he also unlocks Krillin's potential, because that's something he can do. Not explained ever at any point that that's something he can do. It just is. Which you will note is a trend in Dragon Ball. A lot of people will just be able to do things despite the fact that it is either not explained or outright, like, defied by the events of the story. You get to that during the Cell Saga a lot. And I apologize if these next few videos aren't the greatest, because I just want to get to the Cell Saga. Because the Cell Saga is so fucking good. A lot of people don't like the Cell Saga as much because there were a lot of editing choices that happened during the Cell Saga that make it kind of messy. But honestly, it's not as messy as the Frieza Saga. I will stand by it to my grave that the Frieza Saga is not as good as everybody says it is. I think everybody is just clouded in their minds by, oh, Frieza, that's the iconic guy, and oh, Super Saiyan, that's the thing I know from when I was a kid. I think it kind of clouds their minds to the objective kind of lack of quality present in the Frieza saga. Because for being called the Frieza saga, there's not very much Frieza in it. Anyway, we get back to Frieza and Zarbon. And Frieza is like, hey, where'd Dodoria go? I'm not picking him up on the scouter, and he hasn't come back with Vegeta's corpse yet. So Zarbon reasons that he's probably dead. And of course he's right, because Vegeta has killed him. So at this point, Frieza is just like, hey, go find Vegeta and fucking kill him. So Zarbon moves out. And then, Zarbon and Vegeta find each other. And then Zarbon is just like, oh, something, I'm gonna kill you. And Zarbon also doesn't understand that Vegeta's super powerful now. He doesn't get it. Despite the fact that he has killed Dodoria, and quickly. Did I talk about Kiwi yet? I just remembered Kiwi. Or Kui, as they call him in the anime. I don't remember if I talked about Kiwi or not. Kiwi is some fucking high-ranking member of the Frieza Force who gets sent out to go kill Vegeta, and that's when the audience learns about Zenkai and is told, like, hey, Vegeta's super strong now because he almost died. Very one-note interaction, doesn't take very long, not even a fight. It's literally an execution. I think that happens in Volume 5. I can't remember if I talked about that or not. But, yeah, it's, again, something I'm fairly certain I forgot to talk about it. But, like I said, at this point, Zarbon and Vegeta find each other. And I think Vegeta tells Zarbon, like, hey, Dodoria told me everything that happened. And Zarbon doesn't give a shit, because he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you anyway. And then there is a solid whole chapter, it feels like, of just Vegeta kicking the fucking tar out of Zarbon. Like, he is just relentlessly beating his ass. But then Zarbon is like, yeah, sure, you're super powerful, but check this shit out. And then Zarbon gets big. He talks about, or it's not stated that the amulet on his forehead gives him the ability to transform, but there's another character later on in the manga for Super, the segment of Super that hasn't even been animated yet, where there's another character who has the amulet on his forehead that Zarbon has on his here, that can also transform into a crocodile-looking motherfucker, like Zarbon can. So that's a cool little piece of lore there that's not explicitly stated, but it's kind of an, if you remember, then you'll get benefit out of it. But again, never stated what the amulet is, or explicitly what it does, or what it's called. It's just a plot device, really. But Zarbon turns into, like, this big fucking crocodile-looking guy. And fucking Vegeta is just like, hey, you're really ugly now. You're just ugly. What did you do? So then fucking Zarbon is like, I'm gonna fucking murder you. And then he does. Well, he doesn't kill him, obviously, but fucking Zarbon starts beating him, just beating the fucking shit out of Vegeta, you know? This guy is just demolishing Vegeta at this point. And so he drops Vegeta into the water, he headbutts him a few times, He, like, punches him, he kicks him, he fucking throws him into a bunch of different buildings. And then he plunges him into the water, and he leaves. He even makes a comment to himself about, I don't know where his body is, and I should probably make sure he's actually dead before I go back to Frieza. And then he doesn't! He's just like, oh, it's probably fine, and then he fucks off, which will start a grand thread and trend of motherfuckers in Dragon Ball just assuming that when people go into the water, that the person they're fighting is dead. People just assume that shit constantly. And it's so stupid, because Vegeta's alive. You know, Vegeta, like, crawls out of the water, and he almost kills him. Fucking Zarbon almost kills his ass. And Vegeta's like, I'm not gonna die. And then he passes out. And it is at this point that Zarbon goes back to Frieza, and he's like, hey, I killed Vegeta. Yay. And then Frieza calls him on his shit. He's like, did you actually make sure he's dead? Like, did you find his body and ensure that he died? And Zarbon has the revelation of like, oh, I figured it wasn't necessary, so no, I didn't check if his body was actually there. And then Frieza looks at him and he's just like, well, why the fuck didn't you? And then he just tells him, go fucking find Vegeta, and if you don't find him, I'm gonna kill you instead. So Zarbon goes back out to look for Vegeta, and that is where the volume ends. Which is crazy. And this volume in particular really highlights some of my problems with the Frieza saga. With what I said about it being just super messily written, and everything being a back and forth of fucking nonsense. But, I don't know. I still like the Frieza saga. You know, it's not that I don't like the Frieza saga at all, because I do. I still like the Frieza saga quite a bit. But, fuck, it's just really messy. Everyone's all over the place. I like Zarbon, though. I like Zarbon. I like watching Frieza do his shit, where he's like, I'm the evil guy. But, yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Really, really weird volume. Really weird saga altogether. And next time, I will be back with Volume 7. Hopefully a little sooner this time, because I'm recording this the day after that I upload the Fortnite video. So I still have... we got 4 days now until Christmas. 4 days after today, it's Christmas. It's currently Wednesday. And I'm fairly certain that for Christmas, I'm going to be getting the Dragon Ball box set. So I need to finish up this shit so I can talk about that. Because I've never read Dragon Ball before. So I'm very, very excited to get my hands on that. Excuse me. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Out of 10, I'd probably rate this one a solid 5. I'm going to start giving them ratings. Because I feel like... Oh, excuse me. I feel like that helps me gauge things a lot better. In terms of Volume 1, probably a solid 8 or a 9, because I don't think it's perfect, but it's a good start to the series. Volume 2, I can't even remember what Volume 2 is. 3 and 4 are honestly both 10s, because I like 3 and 4 a lot. And then 5 is probably like a 9. Or, no. 5 is like a 7. Yeah, because it's a good setup, right? But it's setup still, you know? So there's not like any action or proper character development happening. But at this point, have they established that Goku is on the way yet? I can't remember. I think... Because if I forgot that, that's kind of important. I think they established Goku's on the way in the previous volume, right? Yeah, because he goes to Dr. Briefs and he's like, hey, I need help. But yeah, Goku's getting closer now, and he's training in really intense gravity. So yeah, he's like getting super fucking strong. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I will see you guys next time with probably more of this, either this or Mass Effect. So I will see you guys then. Bye bye.